Good morning. Good Davach. Hope you all had a wonderful Shabbos. Today this week we're wrapping up Shevuos and Idios on Tuesday, Mr. Shem. Idios will take us into next week. And towards the end of next week, we're going to start Perek Shevuos. We're in the final couple of weeks of this Seder. Here we go. Okay, so today's shir is the Lenis was Aaron Nachum and Simcha Kohen, Meis Hashem Havaliyah, and before Shlema for Yisrael Baruch Aliyah Racha Bas Bas Zoda Racha Aliana Bas Yad Racha Aaron Yisrael Marisha Chai Bas Torabela before Shlema B'Shalach Shar Chali Yisrael, and Shefer Racha Bas Lech Bas Finach Racha Rachalea, and Zir B'Karov for Shmuel Dab Ben Miriam, and Tzvi Ben Chana. Okay. The last few Perakim we've been dealing with Shevuos D'Oraisa, and this Perek Zion, is dealing with Shevuos D'Rabbanan. We're going to talk about those differences now. So the Shvuah that we're talking about now is Shevuos HaMishnah, in the oaths of the Mishnah, which is not to be confused with the Shevuos Heses, which was instituted after the times of the Mishnah, and is treated less strictly than the oaths of the Mishnah. We're gonna go into this. Okay, here we go. Mishnah Perek Zion Mishnah Aleph. Kohan Nishbaim Shvetorah Nishbaim V'lam Mishamban. Anyone who's obligated to swear under Torah law, he swears and he does not pay. I mean, whenever someone's required to swear Alpi Din D'Oraisa, and he has to swear that his claim is true, he is not the claimant who does so in order to collect, but rather the defendant swears in order to free himself from paying. Like if someone made a claim against the plaintiff issued a claim against the defendant, and the defendant has to swear in order to not pay. But the following people swear and they collect payment by din d'Rabbanan. So who are those? Hasachir, a hard worker, a nigzal, someone who was robbed, a nechbal, someone who was injured, someone whose opponent in a court case is not trusted to swear. And a storekeeper who makes a claim based on what is written in his account book. So in these cases, he has a chiyuv d'oraisa to swear, but we don't allow him to swear because there's a chashash of him making a false oath. So the Chachamim, they instituted him making that the person making the claim makes the oath and collects the claim, according to Rashi. Hasachir Ketzad. We're going to talk about now each of these cases. In what circumstances does a hired worker swear and collect? If a worker says to his employer, "Give me my wage that you owe me," and the employer says, "I already gave it to you, I already paid you." But the worker says, "I didn't receive anything." Then the worker can swear that he has not yet been paid and he can collect his wages. The Chachamim instituted this shvuah because an employer is often so busy paying all his workers that sometimes he thinks he paid the worker, but he didn't actually do so. The Chachamim gave the worker the right to swear and collect. Yehuda says that the worker is not believed to swear and collect, unless there's an admission to part of the claim by the employer. Okay, it said, how so? A worker said to his employer, give me my wage of 50 silver dinars that you owe me. And the employer says, you already received the gold dinar, which is worth 25 silver dinars. Therefore, I owe you only 25 silver dinars. I owe you half. Since the owner admits that he still owes part of the money, he is required to swear a Shevuos d'oraisa. He does not owe the rest of the money. In this case, the Chachamim took the oath away from the employer and gave it to the worker to swear that he is still owed the full 50 silver dinars that he claims, which he can then collect. However, if the employer denies the entire claim, the worker cannot swear and collect his wages. It doesn't work that way. According to Rabbi Yehuda, Chachamim did not create a new oath to allow a worker to collect. They only instituted that if there is a chiyuv to swear for other reasons, then the worker should be the one to take the oath and collect, rather than let the employer make the oath and free himself from paying. Mishnah Beis. Hanigzal case. In what circumstances does one who is robbed swear and collect? If witnesses testified against the person that he entered someone's house to take security from him for a debt that he was owed without the homeowner's permission, which is a form of robbery, since the lender has no right to do this. Who Omar Kelai Atata. And the homeowner later says to him, you took my utensils. Who Omar Lonatati. The person who entered illegally replies, I didn't take anything. Areza Nishma Venoto, and the homeowner swears as to which item is taken from him and collects what he claims was stolen. Since witnesses testify that the person who entered who took things from the homeowner without permission, the Chachamim decreed that the homeowner is believed with an oath to say what it is that was taken. Rabbi Yehuda says the homeowner does not swear and collect. Unless there is an admission of part of the claim by the person who entered illegally. Okay, so how so? How does it work? If the homeowner says to the person, you took 2 utensils from my house, and he answers, I took only one. The homeowner swears and collects the value of both utensils. Since the person who entered admits to part of the claim, he is required to swear a Shevuos d'oraisa, and he does not owe the rest of it. In this case, the Chachamim took the shvuah away from him and gave it to the homeowner to swear and collect. However, if the person who entered claims that he took nothing from the house, and there are no witnesses to say that he did, then the homeowner cannot swear and collect. Mishnah Gimel. In what circumstances does someone who is injured swear and collect damages? A witnesses testified against the person that someone entered his place whole, uninjured, and left it injured. He walked in one piece and left hurt. And the victim says to him, you injured me. He replies, I did not injure you, rather you injured yourself. So the victim, he swears and collects damages for his injury. Since it appears likely that the other person injured him, the Chacham decreed that the victim is believed with a shvuah. Rabbi Yehuda says someone who is injured does not swear and collect, unless there is an admission of part of the claim by the person suspected of inflicting the injury. Kate said, how so? If the victim says to him, you inflicted 2 injuries on me, and the other one replies, I inflicted only 1 injury on you, the victim swears that he received 2 injuries from him and collects damages for both, However, if the other person denies that he ever attacked the victim cannot swear and collect. Mishnah Daled. What are the circumstances that make someone's opponent not trusted to make Shevuos? Whether he once swore a false oath of testimony, or a false oath of deposit, and even if he swore a vain oath, he was over the Isser against swearing falsely or in vain, and he's no longer trusted with Shevuos. Even a Shevuos shav, which does not hurt another person, but is merely a sin against Hashem, disqualifies a person from being believed with a Shua. Hayu Echad. So now we're going to talk about the disqualifications. People who are disqualified because they cannot be trusted when it comes to money, they're therefore disqualified when it comes to Shevuos. Hayu Echad mehem misachah b'kuvia. One of them was a person who plays dice for money. Even though playing dice for money is not considered stealing according to the Chachamim, however, it has no benefit to society, and therefore he was disqualified. The person is usher to busy himself except with believing Torah or doing chesed, or he may contribute to society by trading or creating a product or providing a service. So gamblers do none of these things. A person who lives such an empty lifestyle tends to lack Yireh Shamayim. Therefore, he is possible for Eidos, possible for Shua. Someone who lends money on interest, it's an issue to lend money on interest, and someone who does so has no chelik in lam haba. Or raises pigeons for money. It's also because he's also gambling. Or does business with pair of shvius, which is aser b'hana. You can eat them, but you can't do business with them. And if his opponent swears the oath instead and collects. I mean, these people themselves, they cannot swear because they are guilty of these things. So the opponent then swears. If that guy is also over these affairs, then you have another problem. So we're going to talk about that now. Both of them were suspect in regards to Shevuos, so that the claimant can also not make the oath. Then the Shua returns to its place. So the one originally obligated to take the Shua, since he is unable to do so, he must pay. The Rabbi Yossi, this is according to Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Meir says, since none of them can swear, Yachloku, they divide the disputed amount between them, and the defendant pays half the amount in question. Mishnah Hey. So what circumstances does the storekeeper swear and collect it based on what is written in his account book? It does not mean that a storekeeper may simply tell a customer, it's written in my account book that you owe me 200 zuz, then swear and collect that amount. We do not believe a storekeeper simply on the basis of his claim unless there are circumstances that lend support to it. Rather, this refers to a case where someone told the storekeeper, give my son 2 saw wheat and I'll pay you later. Or give my workers a seller worth a mouse. A seller's worth a mouse, and I will pay you the seller later. The storekeeper later says, it is written in my account, but I give you What you ask me to give, but the worker says we did not collect anything from the storekeeper. In this case, the storekeeper swears that he gave what he was supposed to give and collects from the father or the employer the amount he wrote in his account book as having paid. And the workers swear that they did not receive anything and they collect their wage from the employer. Since the employer admits that he asked the storekeeper to pay his workers, there is reason to believe that the storekeeper did so. The Chachamim therefore decreed that the storekeeper can swear that he paid and collect from the employer. The workers also swear and collect because the employer definitely owed them money, and he cannot say for sure that the storekeeper paid them on his behalf. Therefore, the employer pays twice, once to the storekeeper and once to the workers. A person cannot free himself from a debt that he owes unless he can say for sure that he paid it. If he's not sure, the person to whom he owed the money claims with certainty that he did not pay it, then the claim must be paid. That's the case of Bari Hashem and Bari Adif. One's clear and one's not sure. Therefore, the one who's clear takes the upper hand. For this reason, the workers should not even have to swear to collect from the employer since he cannot say for sure that he paid them what he owed. The Chachamim require them to swear in this case only because the storekeeper contradicts them and is also collecting from the employer. When the storekeeper and the workers take their Shevuos, they must do so in front of each other so that one who is lying will be embarrassed to swear falsely in the presence of the one who knows the truth, which is Hashem, or the other side. Okay, moving on. Amar Benanas. Benanas says, he disagrees over here. Kate said, how can it be that we require both these, the storekeeper and the workers, to come to a situation in which one of them will swear a false shvua, a shvua shav? The storekeeper and the worker both swear, one of them will certainly have sworn falsely. So how does this work? Rather, the storekeeper collects without a shvua. And the workers collect without a shvua. According to Benanas, since neither of them can swear, they both collect without swearing. Mishnah Vav. If a customer tells the storekeeper, this is Mishnah Vav, right? Give me a dinar's worth of produce. And the shopkeeper gave it to him. He placed it outside the store in the street for the customer to take home. Allah telling us a dinar, and he said to the customer, "Give me the dinar that you owe for the produce." Allah, the customer replied, "Nasati l'cha unasato ve'anpali." I already gave it to you before you measured out the produce, and you put it in your money pouch. Yishava bal habayis. The homeowner swears that he paid the dinar and he takes the produce from the street, since his claim is considered stronger than the storekeeper's. No, so it's a dinar. If the customer gives the storekeeper a dinar, Amalah telling us a payers, and then it said to him, "Give me the produce in the street that I paid for." Amalah, and the storekeeper replied, I already gave you the produce that you paid for, and you took it home. And this produce in the street is mine. The storekeeper swears that he already gave him the produce and he keeps the produce in the street. In this case, the storekeeper's claim is considered stronger than the customer's. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees and he says this is the rule. Whoever has the produce in his possession has the upper hand. When the produce is outside the store, we treat it as if it is in the customer's possession. Therefore, in both cases, the customer has the upper hand and he swears and takes the produce. The customer tells the money changer, give them coins for a dinar, and the money changer gave them to him. So he placed the coins down in the street in front of them. Amalo telling us a dinar and then told the customer, give me the dinar you owe me. Amalo, and the customer replied, Nesate lecha unesatu bampoli. I already gave it to you and you put it in your money pouch. You shove it balabayas, and the homeowner swears that he paid the dinar and then he takes the money from the street since his claim is considered stronger than the money changers. And the reverse case. Now, if the customer gave the dinar to the money changer, and then said to him, give me the change that is in the street for which I paid you. Amalo, and the money changer replied, Nesatim lecha v'yishlachtem lesoch kisecha. I already gave you the change that you paid for, and you threw it into your purse, and this money in the street is mine. The money changer swears that he already gave him the change, and he takes the money from the street, since in this case his claim is considered stronger than the customer's. Rabbi Yehuda disputes this last ruling, and he says, It is not uncommon. It is uncommon for a money changer to give even an isser to a customer unless he receives his dinar as payment. And an isser is 1/24 of a dinar, so you need to give at least a 24th of that. Therefore, the fact that the money changer placed the money in the street supports the customer's claim that he already paid the money changer, and even in this case, the customer swears and takes the money. Mishnah Zayin. Kashem she'amru. Just as the Chachamim said in Ksubas, that hapogemes ksubasa, if a woman reduces her ksuba, she presents her ksuba document in the court, but says that she has already been paid part of it. Lo sifra el b'shua. She has not paid the rest unless she makes a shua that she has not yet been paid full. Eid echad me'ida she perua v'lo sifra el b'shua. And that if one witness testifies against her and says that her ksuba was already paid, she is not paid unless she makes a shua. She has not already received it. And that if she comes to collect her ksuba from her husband's stole property, from the people who bought his property after the ksuba debt took effect, or she comes to collect it from the property of her husband's orphans that they inherited from him, she is not paid from the buyers or orphans unless she makes a shua that the ksuba is still owed to her. And that if the husband divorced her and then went overseas and she wants to be paid a ksuba from his property while he is not present, she is not paid unless she makes a shua that it is still owed to her. So too, they decree that orphans cannot collect the debt owed to their father unless they make a shua. Although the orphans have a loan document that says that their father was owed money, they cannot collect from it. They cannot collect it from the children of the borrower without making a shua, just as a woman cannot collect her ksuba from her husband's heirs without making a shua. Shua shelo fagdanu Abba, we swear that our father did not instruct us on his deathbed, and nor did our father tell us at any time before then. For Shalom, nor have we found a receipt among our father's documents stating that this loan document is paid. That's the shvu that they have to say. Rabbi Yochanan ben Baruch says, "Afilu nolad haben la'achar misasa'av." Even with the son who was born after his father's death, he must still swear that he did not find a receipt, and only then may he collect the debt. Although he cannot swear whether he heard from his father that the loan was paid, nevertheless he must swear at least that he did not find a receipt among his father's documents. All right, Shimon ben Gamliel, Shimon Ben Gamliel says, so if there are witnesses that the father said at the time of his death, stars in a parua, this document is not paid. Who knows? The son can collect without an oath. Okay. The last Mishnah for today, I think. Let me see. Yeah. Mishnah Ches was another category of Shvuas D'Rabbanan. These people must swear even without a definite claim being made against them. Hashutfim, business partners, Harisin, sharecroppers, Haputrafin, and administrators. Administrator is someone who manages other people's financial affairs, like a financial advisor, almost. Isha, Hanosis, Hanosenes, Besochabayis. A woman who buys and sells for a husband in the house, Uben Hapayis, and a member of the household, an heir who manages the estate of his deceased father on behalf of his brothers until they divide it, the executor of the estate. And any of these people is called to give an account of his dealings on behalf of the others, he can be required to make a shvuah. Amalot, if the one managing the property said to the owner of the property, Ma ata toaneni, what is your claim against me? Ritzoni shitishavali, and the owner replied, I want you to swear to me that while you managed my property, you do not take anything from it. Chayiv, he is chayiv to take the shvuah. Although the owner does not say he knows the manager took something, the Chachamim required these people to swear even in response to an uncertain claim. They all have a tendency to take more than they are owed. If the partners or sharecroppers completed their dealings and divided the property with the owners, and the one managing the property was not asked to swear at the time, and Yachal Ashpio, the owner cannot make him swear at a later date without a definite claim. Nevertheless, if a shvuah came his way from somewhere else, if the partner or sharecropper became obligated to make a shvuah the owner as a result of some other dealing, we bring all the owner's claims upon him for an oath, for a shvuah, and he must swear even about the uncertain claim the owner makes now concerning the previous partnership or sharecropping arrangement. Now we wrap up this Perek with a rule about Shemitah, which is unrelated to the topic over here. But it's one point over here, Vashvias Meshametes as a shvuah, Shemitah cancels a borrower's obligation to make a shvuah regarding a loan, just as it cancels the loan itself. Therefore, if a person becomes obligated before Shemitah to swear a shvuah regarding a certain loan, the Shemitah year cancels his chiyuv to swear that shvuah. The Mishnah is speaking of a case where the loan itself is not canceled, and the chiyuv for the shvuah took effect before Shemitah. Where the claim for payment was made before Shemitah and it was denied at the time in a way that would require a shvuah. That's all for today, and we'll finish up the tomorrow with Perek Ches. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.